to recognize our final 2016 Distinguished Alumni, Larry Keenan. I ask his son and KU Law graduate from the class of 1984, Matt Keenan, to the podium. Let's give him a round.
I know we're winding down, but I do want to say that this has been a special night, fun night for our family. I've had the privilege of coming to this for a couple of years, and every time I come, I leave with the confidence that the school is in wonderful shape, that the faculty is strong, that the alumni base is strong, and devoted and dedicated, and it gives me a great sense of feeling about the direction of the law school. So thank you, Steve, for all of your hard work. My dad has a few remarks, but I don't think too many, but I did want to take this opportunity to introduce the family members that are here tonight. I want to start with obviously my dad, and to his right is my stepmother, Patty, and my daughter, Maggie, who's a sophomore here at KU, my wife, Lori, and then Marty, who was a graduate in 1985, his wife, Julie, their son, Jefferson, Tom Hudak, and then my sister, married to Tom, Beth, who's an attorney in Kansas City. I have a few things I want to...
Just hold it.
I'll try what Mike did. Oh, just hold it.
Yeah, you can do it.
How about that? Okay. I just have a few anecdotes about Dad. Dad had lots of stories growing up, and we didn't have any choice but to listen to him. But Dad was born in 1929, November of 1929, and shortly after he came home from the hospital with his mother, Mary, they went to a 4-bedroom home in Stafford County, Kansas. Now, in that 4-bedroom home was my dad's dad, Pat, his mother, Mary. That was 1 bedroom. A 2nd bedroom was my dad's uncle, John. John Keenan never married, and as far as we could tell, never had a job. He lived in that farmhouse his entire life. They were Irish, and I'm sure his Irish mother was very proud of him. Also in that house was 8 siblings of my dad's. One of those siblings was Brother Bob. Brother Bob was 6 years older than my dad, and he was the first in the family to go to college. Several of my dad's siblings were veterans in World War II. Dad was a veteran of the Korean War. But you don't have to be a student of history to know that farming in central Kansas in the 30s was a very difficult proposition. 1936 is the hottest summer in record in Kansas, with a temperature recorded of 121 degrees, and that was in the shade. Now, good luck finding shade in Stafford County, Kansas. Now, the homestead did dodge many tornadoes, except for the one that hit Greensburg. And happily, there was no one left at the homestead, but it no longer remains. The one thing Dad always told us was, he said, we weren't poor. My dad farmed, and my dad was an auctioneer. But if you see the photos from those times, it looks like something straight out of the Grapes of Wrath. Now, one thing that we heard about Dad was that he loved to hitchhike to KU. Dad hitchhiked to KU. So naturally, years later, when the Keenans were in the Chrysler station wagon, a car that would make the Ford Pinto look safe, Dad would see a hitchhiker and he would pull over and stop. Now, the hitchhiker would approach the car and he would see in the car, in the back seat, my older sister Kate, big hair, big dreams, and really big braces. I mean, like bridge cabling all over her teeth. Next to her was my brother Tim, 6'4", elbows, knees, and floppy hair. Next to him was me. Next to me was Marty. And next to Marty was my sister Beth, who's here tonight. Dad was in the front seat with his pipe. Mom was in the front seat with the beehive, several layers of hair. I always expected that poor hitchhiker to look in the car and go, I'll wait for another one. For the 62 years Dad's been part of the Great Bend community, really there was never a dull moment. He helped prosecute the Parish Hotel fire, which is still one of the most significant criminal trials in Kansas. Monty Parrish was a decorated general. It was a trial that made a magazine, which was very prominent at the time, called True Detective, long before it became an HBO series. But Gene was fortunate to practice with and against a lot of very iconic, wonderful men and women, like Lee Turner, Gene Balloon, John Carpenter, Tom Burscheid, Connie Eckerberg, who's here tonight and was in his class. Gene Balloon, I mentioned, was in his class. C. Stanley Nelson from Salina, Ed Larson from Hayes, Kerry McQueen from Liberal, and of course his brother Bob, who was Dad's partner for 55 years and also a KU grad. I mean, Dad was the authentic manifestation of a small town counselor. If he really had a serious problem, a client would come over to the house and Mom would shoo all of us downstairs, and oftentimes the client would be very angry about one thing or another, and we would crane our necks to hear what the conversations were. If it was really, really serious, they went on the back patio. We went down in our bedroom, cracked open the window, and we could hear virtually everything that was said. They almost always left in a much better frame of mind than they came in. When Dad was recognized by the KBA for his civility and professionalism last year, it really confirmed to me what we had seen over the years. I remember when I was in law school, Dad told me something that absolutely stunned me. He said, "I've never filed a motion to compel in a case." And he said, "I would just work it out." And now I know how successful that practice was. I mean, Dad somehow fed a family of 7 doing free legal work for the Irish priests who populated western Kansas, advising the Dominican nuns whose convent was directly across the street from the house that we grew up in. He counseled broke farmers, and there were many, struggling oil men, but when he had to stand up, he did. And when the Archbishop overstepped his bounds on various local church matters from time to time, there was really only one person the community knew had the moral authority to call him out. That was Dad. But his charity, all things Catholic, all things Mennonite, my mom's faith, and all things KU. In his career, he had the unwavering devotion to the cause, to the client, and not to the fee. Mom used to say Dad loved to tell people what they should do, and sometimes do things that might be more beneficial to someone's interest other than their own. They would see the wisdom in his ways. And on Monday morning, about 10 a.m., they're going to be lining up to see him again at the Keenan Law Firm. The grandsons and granddaughters of his early clients will be there. And Lori and I will be there too, because we're going out to Graven. We're taking Patty and Dad back tomorrow, because we need some advice on some pesky issues. It's going to be a fun drive. I just hope we don't see a hitchhiker. Thank you.
Actually, I think Matt said that for both of us. But I do want to say I'm flattered to be in the company of John Peck and Judge Battle. I've known John for many, many years, and we've had a great relationship. And I want to thank the law school for this wonderful event and award. But I'll tell you what I'm reminded of. I'm reminded of back in law school. I had these professors, and at this point, they're all dead. And I can hear them in heaven saying, "Larry Keenan got water warm?" Holy cow. Thank you very much.
Congratulations again to all of our Distinguished Alumni Award recipients. Congratulations to the Green Medallion.